When a company like Tesla updates one of its most successful models, the world takes notice. The Model 3 has already defined what an accessible, premium electric car should look like. It set the benchmark for range, performance, and technology in its category. So when Tesla announced the Highland refresh, expectations weren't just high, they were sky high. People wanted to know, is this the next big leap forward, or just a polished version of what we already know? At first glance, the changes made it seem revolutionary. The silhouette is still very much a Model 3, the philosophy is still very much Tesla. But if you look closer, the Highland is less about radical reinvention and more about refinement. Tesla's attempt to take something that already works and push it a little further. And in today's auto industry, refinement can be just as important as disruption, because while headlines love words like game changer or revolution, most buyers want something practical, reliable, and better than what came before. That's why the real question isn't whether the Model 3 Highland grabs attention, it already does. The real question is whether it deserves your investment. Does it justify its price tag compared to rivals like the Polestar 2, the Hyundai Ioniq 6, or even its own older version? And perhaps most importantly, if you're entering the EV market in 2025, is this the car that balances hype with reality? We'll break this down step by step: design, performance, technology, value, but I want you to keep one thought in mind throughout. Tesla doesn't just sell cars, it sells a vision of the future. The Highland is the latest expression of that vision. The question is, does it bring us closer to it, or is it simply riding in the momentum of its name? The first thing you notice about the Highland is the face. Tesla has smoothed out the front end, removing some of the sharper creases and giving it a cleaner, more streamlined look. It may not scream for attention like a radical redesign, but that's exactly the point. This car doesn't need to announce itself loudly, it's designed to look more confident, more mature, almost as if Tesla is signaling that the Model 3 has grown into its role as the mainstream EV benchmark. From the rear, the changes are just as deliberate. The tail lamps are sharper, more sculpted, and contribute to an overall design language that feels more premium than before. It's subtle, yes, but subtlety in car design can sometimes carry more weight than dramatic overhauls. Because subtlety is what stands the test of time, it ensures that the Highland doesn't feel dated a year from now. And that's critical in a market where buyers want their investment to hold relevance for years to come. But these updates aren't purely aesthetic. Tesla claims improved aerodynamics, and while the numbers might sound small on paper, they translate into meaningful gains in efficiency in the road. Every curve, every smoothing of a line has been engineered with the intent to push the car further in the same amount of energy. And in the world of electric mobility, efficiency is currency. What makes these exterior updates worth paying attention to is not that they are radical, but that they are purposeful. Tesla resisted the temptation to reinvent the wheel. Instead, they chose to refine it, and sometimes refinement is the truest sign of confidence in a product. A Highland doesn't chase trends, it sharpens its identity. The real question is, do we as consumers recognize that restraint can be just as valuable as revolution? Stepping inside the Highland, you immediately sense that Tesla has doubled down on its philosophy of minimalism. The cabin feels even more paid back, almost like a deliberate exercise in removing distractions. There are fewer visible lines, fewer physical buttons, everything seems to flow into one seamless environment. For some, this radical simplicity feels futuristic, for others, perhaps a bit too clinical. But one thing is clear: Tesla wants the interior to reflect calm, focus, and efficiency, much like the car itself. What makes this iteration stand out, however, are the subtle yet meaningful touches. The new ambient lighting is more than just mood setting, it adds depth and warmth to what has often been criticized as a cold space. The materials, too, feel improved, with a sense of quality that edges the Model 3 closer to premium territory. And then there's the new rear touchscreen. This is a clever move. acknowledging that passengers aren't just along for the ride, they expect engagement and control too. From adjusting climate settings to streaming entertainment, the experience in the backseat is now its own little ecosystem. The takeaway is simple. Tesla isn't just refining how you drive, but also how you feel when you're not behind the wheel. And in the end, comfort isn't a luxury, it's a statement of value. Performance has always been central to Tesla's premise, and with the Highland, the story continues though in a more refined way than a revolutionary one. The dual-motor setup remains familiar, and while the raw numbers haven't leapt dramatically, the car feels different where it truly matters. Efficiency has been optimized, giving you a little more range per charge, but the real advancement lies in how the power is delivered. The acceleration is still instant, but smoother, more controlled, almost as if Tesla wanted the experience to feel less about chic value and more about mastery. What also stands out is the quietness. Tesla has worked to reduce cabin noise, and it shows. The road feels more distant, the outside world more filtered, allowing the driver and passengers to focus on the journey itself. Pair that with the refined suspension tuning, and the Highland doesn't just move fast, it moves gracefully. It's a reminder that speed alone doesn't define performance. It's the quality of mission, the way a car interacts with the driver, that creates lasting impact. And this is the essence here. Tesla isn't chasing thrills for the sake of thrills. It's shaping an experience that blends power with poise, proving that true progress often whispers instead of shouts. Technology has always been Tesla's calling card, and the Highland doesn't disappoint in carrying that legacy forward. The infotainment system has been sharpened, not just in speed and responsiveness, but in the way it integrates seamlessly with the driving experience. It feels less like a screen you operate and more like an extension of the car itself. For rear passengers, the dedicated touchscreen adds another layer of engagement, turning long rides into opportunities for entertainment or control over comfort. Where Tesla truly separates itself is in its philosophy of evolution. The Highland comes alive with constant over-the-air updates, meaning the car you buy today will likely be smarter, safer, and more capable a year from now. This isn't just software convenience, it's a fundamental shift in how we think about ownership. A vehicle no longer grows old in silence, it evolves with you. And then there's the ecosystem. From the vast supercharger network to the app that puts control of your car in your pocket, Tesla doesn't just sell you a car, it offers entry into an interconnected world. It's this holistic vision that makes the Highland less about features and a spec sheet and more about living in a future that's already here. When we talk about electric vehicles, price often becomes the first point of hesitation. The Tesla Model 3 Highland positions itself in a space that feels both competitive and aspirational. Against rivals, it doesn't try to undercut purely in cost, because Tesla understands it's not selling just an EV, it's selling an experience, a vision of the future, and a piece of technology that evolves over time. Yet, despite that, the Highland remains within reach for a wide audience of buyers who might once have thought a premium EV was beyond their budget. In the United States, the federal EV tax credits still apply in many cases, making the value proposition even stronger. That incentive isn't just about reducing the sticker shock, it's about tipping the balance in favor of adoption, making the decision to step into the EV world not just aspirational but practical. What makes the Highland stand out is this balance. On one hand, it's affordable enough to compete with mid-range sedans from legacy automakers. On the other, it delivers premium-level features, refinement, technology, and brand prestige that elevate it far beyond a simple commuter car. That equilibrium is what makes it more than a purchase. It's an investment in the future of driving. Competition in the EV space has never been fiercer, and the Tesla Model 3 Highland enters the ring against some serious contenders. The Polestar 2 brings Scandinavian design flair and a sense of refinement that appeals to those who value understated luxury. The Hyundai Ioniq 6 has surprised many with its bold styling, impressive efficiency, and a package that proves traditional automakers on a longer playing catch-up. They are innovating in their own right. And then there's the BMW i4, which blends the prestige of a legacy brand with the driving dynamics that enthusiasts have always associated with the BMW badge. So, where does Tesla stand? On paper, the Highland may not dominate every single category. Some rivals offer longer warranties, others bring richer interiors, and a few may edge out Tesla in specific features. But the power of Tesla lies in its ecosystem. The seamless integration with its charging network, constant over-the-air updates, and the brand's head start in real-world EV adoption still give it a unique advantage. The real question isn't whether rivals are good enough, they are. It's whether Tesla's holistic offering, from infrastructure to innovation, still keeps it a step ahead. And for now, the Highland suggests that Tesla isn't ready to surrender its lead. The Tesla Model 3 Highland isn't designed to please everyone, and that's exactly what makes it interesting. For first-time EV buyers, it offers something invaluable: trust. Or not stepping into an experiment. You're joining a proven ecosystem backed by years of real-world performance and a charging network that takes away the biggest fear of EV ownership: range anxiety. For daily commuters and long-distance travelers, the Highland's improved efficiency, quieter cabin, and seamless charging integration make it a smart, stress-free choice. And for tech enthusiasts, it remains one of the most future-forward vehicles you can buy, constantly evolving through updates that keep it fresh long after you've driven it off the lot. But if you're someone who values the tactile richness of a traditional luxury car, the weight of leather, the elegance of wood, the cocoon-like silence of a German sedan, the Highland may feel too stripped back, too digital, too different. Tesla's philosophy is minimalism and efficiency, not indulgence. So, who should buy it? Those who see cars not just as machines, but as connected tools shaping the future of mobility. If you align with that vision, the Highland doesn't just make sense, it feels like the inevitable next step. The Highland doesn't rewrite the rulebook, but it sharpens the pencil in all the right places. Tesla hasn't gone for chic value here, no dramatic overhaul, no flashy gimmicks. Instead, what they've delivered is refinement, better materials, sleeker lines, quieter performance, smarter tech integration. And sometimes, refinement is more valuable than revolution because it speaks to maturity. It shows Tesla understands that the Model 3 is already a string product. What buyers want now is polish and reassurance. If you're shipping for an EV in 2025, this car deserves a serious look. The competition has gotten stronger: Polestar, Hyundai, BMW, all pushing hard, but Tesla still holds an edge in two areas that truly matter: brand trust and charging infrastructure. These aren't small advantages. They are the foundation of a confident ownership experience. The final question isn't whether the Highland is perfect, it isn't, but whether it delivers more value than the alternatives. And in most scenarios, it does. This isn't about hype, it's about substance. So if you're standing at the crossroads of EV ownership, the Highland makes a compelling case to step forward. At its core, it's less about buying a car and more about buying into a future that feels just within reach.